Alright, I'm going to do a little maintenance on the beater today. Shop truck, daily driver, whatever you want to call it. We live in Ohio. Anybody who says, oh, I drive my 1970 whatever daily shop truck, twin turbo, whatever, is full of shit in the state of Ohio. They put brine on our roads, salt on our roads. And if you do anything in your shop truck daily driver should have a cap or something to keep your shit dry and from blowing out. And it ends up looking like this. A greasy, nasty mess. Due to the fact that it is a shop truck. A beater. That's what they look like. But we got to do some brakes. So we're going to do the front brakes, an oil change, and maybe a door hinge today. Tomorrow, we'll tackle the back brakes. They aren't even working. So, with that said, I got it jacked up. I'm going to pull the front wheels and get started. Well, we got the wheel off. We're going to pull the caliper off. Caliper brackets, which consist of all that crap, so we can get a rotor and brake pads put on this turkey. Alright, we got it all off. Now it's time to put it all back on. Put the rotor on, put the pad holder, then we got to grease everything up, put the caliper on. We'll see what's next. Alright, so you use your trusty C-clamp, push your caliper back in. If it doesn't go very easy, then you need a caliper. Take your never sees everything that you think something slides on. You know, I'll put never sees on these, those, on the pins. You definitely want to never seize these pins. You want those to slide in and out pretty good. You don't want them stuck. And then you put it back together. Simple as that, and repeat on the other side. There you have it. One side is done. I'm going to put the wheel back on and proceed to do the same on the other side. Then we'll change the oil on this thing. And if the other caliper moves in and out, it's good. And we don't have to buy calipers for the front. We know we need calipers in the rear. But we're going to move over to the other side. So I'm going to put this wheel on and go do the other side. Next step is the oil change. We got to drain it and change the filter. And the filter is up inside that sucker. Drain plug, there's another hole somewhere back there. I think it's over here. We shall see. So now, we're going to replace the lower door hinge. We got to take the top hinge loose. We got the bolts out of the bottom of the lower door hinge, but it's not really helping me none. So we're going to take the top loose, pull the door back, see what we can do. So we got the old hinge off. Got the front door completely off the car, held up on a jack. Here's a new hinge. We're going to start putting it in. Put these two bolts in, and then put it on the door. Then adjust. Alright, the new hinge is in. All the bolts are tight. She shuts. She ain't too bad. This Jeep was totaled. When the hinge broke, it ripped the fender off. Sorta. It's just a beater. It's perfect. So now we got to check the lug nuts with a breaker bar. And we're ready to go to the Christmas party. Alright, so yesterday we did the front brakes, oil change, and door hinge. Today we're going to tackle the rear brakes. And then, next up on the agenda, we're going to build a wheelie bar for the mini bike project. Oh yeah, it's happening. Well, let's get this sucker jacked up and get the wheels off. See how this works out. Alright, we got the wheel off. We got the jack stand under there. We're going to take the caliper off. See if we can get that rotor off and clean it up a little. And see if we get that caliper to slide. Alright, let's see what happens. There's 2 bolts in the back. And I think that's it. Not 100% sure, but I think that's all we got to do. So we cleaned up the rotor a little bit. We got the caliper off. We're going to clean up the caliper slide pins and holes. Put some new brake shoes on. See how it does. Hopefully we don't got to get new calipers. We'll see when we push the piston in. I guess we're putting brake pads on, not brake shoes. But we're going to clean out those holes with a pick. Then we're going to wire wheel the pins. Clean it up a little bit and see what we can come up with. So let's get to work. Let's clean up these caliper holes and pins. Okay, so we got the other side done. I figured out what I want to do. So now I'll show you on this side. Yeah, the Jeep's got rust. It's a beater, shop truck, whatever you want to call it. So we're going to pull this wheel off and get into this side and show you exactly how we did it, why we did it, and what we did. Alright, as you can see, this side's just as rusty. So we're going to pull that caliper off, clean up that rotor a little bit, and see what we can come up with here. 2 bolts right there, 14 millimeters. We got to get both those off. The top one's a pain in the ass because of the line. That rotor is really rusty, but we'll show you what we're going to do here because these back brakes are crap. We got old rusty trusty apart. Now we got to clean her up. So we got it all apart. Here's our rusty caliper bolts and our rusty brake rotor. There is no park brake on this thing. That was ripped off a long time ago. So now we're going to clean up the rusty brake rotor. Clean up the caliper slides and put some new shoes on it. Show you how we do all of that. Alright, first thing we're going to do is clean up this rotor. We're going to take said little hammer, chip off all the rust that we can, and then we're going to take the grinder to it. So, this is not a proper repair. This is not even a good repair. This rotor ain't too bad. The backside is shot. But you take a said hammer, chip off all the big rust, and then you just grind on it a little. Is it good? No. Is it bad? Yes. But the brake shoe's only this big, or the brake pad, so it doesn't do much anyways. But we're going to clean this up, and we'll show you the next step. Alright, here's our sanded rotor. It's not great. It's kind of bad, really. If this was a customer's car, I would say no. Don't do this. For this car, I would say no, but I can't get a brake rotor today. None of the local auto parts stores, the 2 of them, have any. So we're going to try this out and see if it works. It's a pretty thick rotor. It's rusty though. But if the calipers work, then all I know is I need to throw some rotors on it. So let's see what happens. Next, we got to prepare the little brake pad. I'll show you what I'm talking about there. So these are our little brake pads. They're very tiny. This is the outside one. This is the inside one. So one of the problems I noticed with the Jeep Patriot is this paint. These don't slide in there very good. Now I don't think they're supposed to move. I think the whole caliper moves and this one kind of sits there stationary. But you got to beat the snot out of it with a hammer to get it in there. So what I'm trying this time around is I'm just taking that sanding disc there, taking the paint off both these nubs before I put it in. You still have to tap it a little bit, but it goes in a lot easier. So we're going to see if that helps us out any. Okay, so we got all this lubed up good. We got the other brake shoe on. Never seize. A little goes a long way, so make sure you use a lot. The more the merrier. I never seized my 2 bolts. So now we're going to put our sanded rotor on. Bolt our caliper back on and see what happens. You got to put this bolt in first because it hits the rubber hose. So we're going to do that now. See what happens. Okay, there it is, all slimed up back together. We're going to throw this wheel on and see if this thing works. Take it for a ride. If I can get this to become shiny, then I know all I got to do is grab a pair of rotors. If I can't, then I know I need calipers. But I got them sliding pretty good, I think. So we'll see what happens. So now we're going to bolt the wheel back on, take this little fella for a ride. So, here's our little brakes. They are working. They're doing what they're supposed to do. It's not beautiful, but it's working. Our brakes are actually working. There's that one. So we got it. All we got to do is get some rotors for it. The calipers are working. So as soon as they come in, we'll put the rotors on the winter beast and we're ready to go. Now, I'm going to get set up to make this wheelie bar for this mini bike here. So, I got to get some things put together and we'll get right back on it. We have to clean up our Jeep mess, but we wanted to get started on the wheelie bar for our mini bike project. So this is our Baja mini bike. These are nuts welded to it that we're going to use to make our wheelie bar. So now we're going to figure out how long we want it. And I figured a 2x4 off the ground should be good. But I gotta see how long I want it, how wide I want it, and how I'm gonna tie it in. I'm thinking 18 inches is plenty long enough. I think that'll work, roughly 18 inches. So, now to figure out how we want to make it. I think I want it to come out and then go straight a couple inches. So if we cut it at 14 or 12, if we go 18 and we make our flat spot 2 inches, well, we'll probably go 18 and a half. Make our flat spot 2 inches and then bend it up. I think that's what we want to do. We're going to use 1 inch square stock. So I'm going to get to work. I'm going to cut 2 pieces at 18 and a half inches. And then I'm going to cut it and slice it so I can try to make it sort of straight. It may be fine straight down. We'll have to see how it looks when we get it done. These are just skateboard wheels, nothing fancy. And we're just going to use those for the wheelie bar wheels. I want to be able to take this thing in the back of my truck and stuff, so I don't want to have it way out there. So I think 18 inches would work out pretty good. 2x4 off the ground. I think that'll be perfect. Alright, we're going to get the square tubing and start cutting. Alright, here's our 2 19-inch long pieces of square tubing. We're going to put 3/8 holes in them. And it's going to come down here somewhere to the wheel, like so. I'm not sure if I'm going to cut it and flatten it out so that it goes down more, or how I'm going to do that yet. I think I'm going to cut it somehow, 3 inches. But first I'm going to drill 2 3/8 holes and bolt it to there and see how I want to do this. And then I'll probably cut it up here somewhere like a pie, fold it where I want it, and weld it all back together. And then we'll make one come down here, and then we'll make a cross piece. And then we'll bolt a wheel to each one. That'll be our little wheelie bar. I think it'll be perfect. Alright, let's get to work, see what we can do. 3/8 holes coming up. Well, here's the start of our wheelie bar. We got this end bolted down. We got that end. Now we got to put a crossbar in there. And then we got to run one from here down to there. And then we'll have a wheelie bar for our mini bike. And I think it'll work out okay. So we got our wheels that high off the ground. Then we're going to make one from here to here, which it may still pivot, so we might have to figure out how to keep it from pivoting. That may be the next step. See how long we want to make them. We want to go directly halfway, 9 inches. And see how it goes. But that's the start. Well, that'll be our little wheelie bar. Sorta. Tomorrow we'll start welding it up and getting the wheels touching the ground on them both. Just like so. Round stock would have looked a lot better, but I don't have any and I'm using what I have. I still may look and see if I have any pieces of round stock anywhere. I don't know, I have a piece of conduit, but that ain't stiff enough. We'll see what we got over there. But I'm kind of digging the square tubing, because the motor mounts are going to be square tubing, so it kind of plays along with the square theme, sort of. That's the alarm. It's 8 o'clock, Christmas Eve. Time to go home.